Hey guys, welcome back to another Pen Talk, where professionals educate networkers. My name is Kevin Taylor. I'm a personal trainer in the Hoover area, and this is my friend Cherry.
Hi, I'm Cherry Howell with Providence Chiropractic. I'm a member of BNI Gateway in Huntsville.
And today we are interviewing Mr. Michael Rosenblum and Hannah Crawford. If you two will go ahead and introduce yourself. Michael?
Okay. Yes, I'm Michael Rosenblum, Rosenblum Realty here in the Huntsville, Alabama area. Rosenblum Realty, I've done this for 13 years now. We're a fourth generation family owned company in our 64th year this year. And I'm a member of the Strictly Business chapter here in the Huntsville area.
Awesome.
And I'm Hannah Crawford. I'm with Viz 3D Space out of Arab, where I specialize in real estate photography. I'm a licensed drone pilot. I do Matterport service providing, and I also do video work.
Great. And just to let all of our viewers know that Michael and Hannah, they were both nominated by individuals in their chapters to be a speaker today because they're great people, they're great at what they do, and they're fantastic presenters. So Cherry, if you'll take it away.
Okay, Michael. First question, what are a few of the top things to be considered when placing a home on the market for sale?
You know, I say a few things that would be crucial moving forward would be, number one, understanding the local market. Although we're in Huntsville and we cover the Madison area, there are some communities that are very unique, and so it can be very hyper-focused as well. So just number one, understanding the local market would be step number one. You know, we advise our clients before putting it on the market, doing what we refer to as a pre-listing home inspection. Sometimes you can overlook some really easy to do things that will come up on a home inspection or before an appraiser comes out to view the home. So taking care of a pre-listing home inspection is one thing that we really advise our clients on. And lastly, I guess I would mention having a really strong marketing strategy put in place. Understanding the market, having the pre-listing home inspection are great first steps. But you know, that last one of having a special marketing strategy, we sit down with every one of our clients and customize a written plan of what it's going to take to sell the home. So who it's going to be marketed to, how it needs to be marketed, what types of photos might be integrated with the marketing strategy, whether there's something special about the community or the general area that we might need to feature to attract a certain buyer. So there's just all kinds of little things that come together to put that marketing strategy together. So there's a few components right off the bat that come to mind.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you.
Hannah, so drone photography is somewhat of a newer industry. What are some advantages of it in comparison to the old-fashioned camera holding?
Great question. The first thing I can think of when I hear that question is perspective. Knowing where the home is located, knowing what it's close to, knowing if it has a view, those are all things that buyers take into consideration. And when you just use the hand-holding camera, you're really doing the property a disservice. Even just having the exterior shots done, maybe it's not the best looking neighborhood or location, but having those exterior shots done at about 20 feet instead of at like 5 or 6 is really going to change the perspective of the home and be more alluring to look at. And it'll grab your viewers' attention when they're scrolling on Facebook, more so than a handheld photo.
Okay. It sounds like they'll add a lot of value going with you over the old-fashioned cameras.
Yes.
All right, Michael, what have you found to be the most effective ways to market a home? Would you use an example of a recent sale?
Yes. So, and I'll piggyback right off of what Hannah just mentioned. One of those first crucial steps in putting that marketing plan in place, one of the most effective ways to market a home would be how it's portrayed to consumers. So the professional photos that are put in place, taking it a step further, making sure the staging is presentable with the home so the photos look good as well. But the videography, and we've seen a big spike in that just with coronavirus over the past few months, making sure the good high quality video walkthroughs take place as well. So consumers who either can't be here or they just don't want to be here because nervousness of coronavirus, the HD videography speaks high volumes. I'll mention the drone shots as well work wonders. And I appreciate Hannah and her work doing that because that really, depending on what type of home you have, if it's has a few acres around the property, people need to see that. You need to see where the boundaries are, see how the acreage lays out, what the capabilities are with that property if you want to do something different than just the house. So the drone shots are great. And one quick example I'll share, we sold a house recently in the New Market area, and it sat on about 5.5 acres. And we had it sold in a few weeks. And then one of the neighbors called and said, hey, I've inherited a house that both of my parents have passed away. And so we're going to be selling their house. And I saw what you did for my neighbor's house down the street with the photos and the videography and the drone shots. And he's like, how in the world did you get those sky shots? He didn't call them drone shots. He'd never seen drone shots before, which I thought was unique. And I said, well, look, we had a person with a really tall ladder come out, and I had to have some fun with him, but we had a laugh over it. But he was so impressed with the marketing of it. He said, that's what I want for my parents' home that I've now inherited. So there's a few things there. And I'll mention, one B&I strategy, using the MLS that we use as real estate agents to market a house to other realtors in our network through the MLS. Same thing that we do B&I for. We're going to talk about what we have and what services we offer so we can use our B&I network to service our clients better.
That's incredible. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Hannah. So one of the services you provide is 3D tours. In what ways do you use the 3D tours, and how is that beneficial in today's society?
So the 3D tours, kind of like the video that Michael was just talking about, have really spiked with the coronavirus. It's called a Matterport tour, and we're partnered with the #1 technology for 3D tours, which is Matterport. So by us having that technology, we were the second camera that was purchased in the state of Alabama. So also by having the experience that we have, it provides a 24-hour open house when it comes to real estate. So with coronavirus, that's a fantastic tool to use. It keeps your homeowners that might be more susceptible or have, it keeps them from, having to worry about so much traffic in their personal home. And then it's also going to keep it helps with your out-of-state folks. Huntsville has so many people coming in, other large cities that have people constantly coming in. This is an out-of-state tool that you can use where essentially we've had several cases where people buy sight unseen. They see it, they walk through it, they see every nook and cranny with our 3D tours, but they don't ever have to leave the comfort of their home or fly to the States, whatever state it is, 10 or 15 times until they find a home. And some other ways that we do use this tour I want to touch on real quick is retail. If you're a retail owner, we can go in with these 3D tours and we can capture your store, which is also going to give you social media relevance during this coronavirus when so many people don't want to go in the shops, but they still want to shop. It gives you an online platform without having to have a website. The flexibility of it, the usage of it is just pretty much endless. We've done it on venues. We've done it on museums. We've also done it for insurance purposes to capture the contents of a home. And you give a copy to your insurance agent. And if anything ever happens, you've got that digital twin. And the last thing that we quite often use it for is remodeling. We'll go in and capture a space as it is, merge it with some other technology that we use, and you'll get to see a live action tour of walking in that front door to the original floor plan, and then it transitions into the remodel of it. So lots of different ways that we can use it, especially with coronavirus being in our society today.
Thank you.
Okay, Michael, how do you leverage your industry knowledge to help your clients buy and sell?
Okay, so I think I mentioned, the word earlier, kind of hyper-focused, and then it's got to be a little bit broader than that. So understanding what's going on in the local market, new developments that are taking place, how that may impact someone's home sale negatively or positively. So understanding what's going on in the surrounding area so we can better educate our sellers, whether it's a good time to sell or what they should sell for, what they should do if there's competitive nature involved. But on a broader scale of just not just knowing what's happening locally here and tapping into new developments and news pieces that are important to us, but on a broader scale nationally, I always tell our clients that if you're interviewing agents to represent you in the purchase or the sale of a home, you might have picked up someone's business card and you notice little letters beside their name. And they're not typos, they're actual designations that that particular agent has earned along the way. And so I tell them, if I were you, I would question not only what those designations are, but how they would help you as the buyer or seller in that transaction. So those designations have not only gained us more experience and expertise to helping our military families, helping relocation clients come in and out of the area. It's helped our sellers, it's helped our buyers, our investors. There's a designation for seniors who may be phasing into retirement or assisted living. So there's all kinds of designations that you can earn. And so I urge our clients, if you're looking at someone's business card or ask for their resume, looking for those designations and how that helps that agent tap into other markets nationwide or internationally speaking to help maybe a seller client attract a buyer client more quickly on a home sale.
Wow, thanks for that.
All right, Hannah, so I'm really good at, driving a remote control car or airplane or drone. Why is it important to have a drone license for someone like yourself?
So there's several reasons. I'm just going to list a few though. One, whenever there's an exchange of money, whenever you hire somebody to perform that service, it is actually the law that they have a license. A hobbyist, you can have your own drone and fly, but if you ever get paid for a job, you better make sure that you've got a license or you put yourself and your customer in a liable position. It's kind of like being a real estate agent. Real estate agents, that's their job. So they go through tests, they go through a course, they get certified. So not everybody can sell a house. Same thing with drone photography, drone video. Another reason that is very specific to our area, we have the Redstone Arsenal right here in Huntsville. That's a big deal. And there are restricted airspaces, DJI, which is the software that is used to fly drones. It is currently banned from any military usage, from being in any restricted military airspace. So they will actually identify that your drone is turned on in their restricted airspace, and they will disable your ability to fly it. Or this actually happened to me. I was doing a circle around a property and my drone hit an invisible wall and landed. And then we had one occasion in Gunnersville where it was just an airport that somebody took over our drone and crashed it, like it just dropped out of the sky. That was all during our learning curve before we were licensed. We were doing everything for free at that time. And it was within 6 months that we realized, okay, there's some real reasoning behind having to have a drone license. We have 4 licensed pilots on our team. So anybody that flies a drone in Biz 3D space, they are licensed and experienced. And the other reason is you've got to be able to read site maps. There's restrictions to how high or how low you can go in certain areas. You need to be able and be comfortable to call an airport and schedule a flight time if you're too close to an airport. So if you hire somebody that doesn't know any of those things, they'll get in trouble themselves most of the times, or that you'll be tied to them, and you don't want to get tangled up into that sticky business. So having a professional that has that stamp, that has that hard copy license you're supposed to have on you at all times when you fly, that's just a security for you and your business.
Okay. Hey, Cherry, I'm going to skip you real quick. I want to do a follow-up question for Hannah. So you said a lot of things that are really pertinent to our next question. So to add on to that, what is the legality of drone photography? And then I know that people pay you to do a job for them, including any sort of waiver. What about neighboring businesses or private residences? I know you answered a couple of that, but just to kind of follow up and conclude that.
Yeah, so again, I'll give you another, this is kind of a funny example. We were over at a Legacy Homes neighborhood. We were doing a commercial video for them. And so they had hired us. We went out to this neighborhood. It was near Redstone Arsenal. And out of nowhere, this lady who ended up being very sweet came charging at me and was shaking her finger and saying, "You don't have legal authority below my roof line," all this stuff. Airspace is completely different than land. Airspace is opened. If I have a clear go on my site map that I can fly, it's open game. There's other different types of airspace where I have to get certain clarification that it is okay for me to fly. But as far as neighboring businesses and residential areas, it's all fair game. I would never, there's a courtesy that you have to never invade someone's backyard if you don't have, permission to, or if they're not your subject matter. And for instance, if I go into a subdivision where all the houses are close, if I'm going to back up over the top of a different house than the one I'm taking pictures of, I usually go to the neighbors and say, "Hey, my name is Hannah Crawford. I'm taking pictures of this property across from you. Just didn't want you to shoot my drone out of the sky because I'm not, getting any type of content of your home." So as far as legal matters go with that, though, it's all pretty fair game. But if you're not licensed, you may not know those things.
Thank you.
Wow. All right, Michael, what are some coming real estate trends in the Huntsville area market?
I think we could see a few trends, a couple of which I think are taking place right now that we've noticed over the past, 6 to 12 months. One is that home prices for sale and for rent, they both keep gradually climbing up slowly over the past year. I don't think we see that trend dipping anytime soon. So we're already seeing home prices continually rise. I mentioned it before, but more 3D tours like Hannah offers or video walkthroughs because of coronavirus. I think that once you're stuck doing something for a few months, you kind of start expecting that again. So I think there can be an expectation of buyer consumers just sort of expecting there to be a video walkthrough or 3D tour of a house, not just with their still shots. So I think you'll see more video walkthroughs coming about. We've seen more Airbnbs in our area come available recently. We've got a lot of new developments taking place right now. So your contractors who are coming in, maybe just supervisors coming in to oversee something that's going on, they're looking for a place to crash for a week, maybe two. And we're seeing more Airbnbs coming up in the rental market category there. We've seen more remodels taking place over the past year. There's some older areas in Huntsville that people are they like the idea of revamping it and making something new again. And I think along with the remodels, we're seeing more tear downs and rebuilds. And I think you'll see that trend coming along because land purchases are just becoming more scarce. So when you're not able to buy some land to build a new house on, you just tear down what's there and start over. So we'll see a few more new builds taking place. And I think lastly, I mentioned one thought that came to mind is what I call, I guess, some neighborhood villages. So you might be familiar with Providence, where you live there and you work with some office space. You've got some boutiques and restaurants, and there's some new developments taking place in Huntsville that are having that a similar concept to kind of work and live and have some recreation type activities as well.
That's great. Thank you.
All right. So I'll finish this up with Hannah. So tell me about how you use drones for warehouse inventory and what are its advantages?
So actually, I was looking at that question, and it's actually our 3D Matterport camera that we use instead of the drones. Our Matterport camera has the ability to shoot 200 feet up, 200 to the right, and 200 to the left. And, we're able to capture huge spaces. I actually just did a 75,000 square foot college building. And so the way they, use it is it captures everything. Every time I place the camera in a spot, it does a 360. It captures absolutely everything around it. To give you an example, the 75,000 square feet had almost 500 placements. So it's very detailed, and they're all about 8 feet apart, creating a pathway. When it comes to capturing inventory, what we usually have when the first wave of coronavirus came through, kind of as a community give back, that Saturday that the quarantine was taken into effect and stores were having to close, I got up at 8 o'clock that morning. I scanned as many local shops as I could possibly scan so that they would have something, because everybody was in a panic. and it captured all the inventory in their showrooms. And so you saw everything, and you also have the ability, once you have that content captured, I can go in that space and I can label each and every individual item if I need to. I had some retail shops that, like I had a shoe shop, for example. So we labeled all her best-selling items. We put the price in there, the name of them, you know, any details that she wanted. I did a Zoom meeting with her, and so she knew that she had that to put on social media. Again, I mentioned before, insurance purposes. I've done Honest Coffee in downtown Huntsville, and we went ahead and captured the kitchen area in Honest Coffee, so she had that for insurance purposes. So it's not, when you look at her model online, a regular person viewing it online can't walk all the way into the kitchen because I've blocked that area off. I've hidden those footprints. But for her, she has a copy that's completely open, and she can give it to her insurance agent and have, you know, full knowledge of exactly what she's got, equipment wise, inventory wise. So it definitely can be used for that. We're actually trying to push into that way to start getting more business. You know, it's called a digital twin. And so having a digital twin of your business, of what all your contents, that is a huge plus. And we even have this new tool I'll mention as well, where when you do get that content and you have your model, you can measure wall-to-wall accuracy within an inch. So it's so helpful for any business to have that and have a digital twin of their business.
That's great. All right, Jerry, last question of the day.
All right. Michael, how does the agent-seller relationship work together the best in order to sell a house?
You know, ultimately, transparency. You know, we call it a partnership, and that's ultimately what it is. You know, when we meet with a seller client and establishing that relationship, we're going to outline really 3 simple goals. Number 1 is to sell for the most money possible. That's usually everybody's target. Number 2, to sell in the desired time frame. And what's interesting is sometimes 1 and 2 may be interchangeable. You may have someone relocating and they say, you know what, it's less important for me to make $2,000 extra here. It's more important for me to get to location B on time. But sometimes those may be swapped. But selling for the most money possible. Number 2, the desired time frame. And number 3, for the least amount of hassle. And so when we lay out those concepts with our 3 targets that we're going to hit, we break it down in details from there. And we kind of divide it into phases, we call it. So here's everything you can expect from us before we get the home on the market. Here's what you can expect from us when we put the home on the market. And here's what you can expect from us from what we call a contract to closing phase. Everything we're doing behind the scenes to get it to the closing table on time. And so we just simply ask for a favor in return. If we can hit those 3 targets and we can set the written expectations of what you can expect from us in the process, can we count on you as a seller to make the house ready for the market? Are we willing to do those things to prepare it? Can you make it show ready? That way it presents itself in the best manner possible so we can hit our desired time frame. And if we can do those things, we won't have any hassle. So it kind of works together. So those are our simple targets. And we have a lot of fine point details that go into setting those expectations clearly. But lastly, I'll mention is that, you know, just putting together those series of reminders in the contract to closing phase. Sometimes we may forget, a seller may have bought a house 10 years ago, and they just forgotten what the home inspection process is like, or understanding who the mortgage lender is, who the processor is, who the closing attorney is, what's the title company, what's title insurance. And so just sending those reminders along the way, hey, here's where we are. And we're going to do this to get to here next. And then we're going to go here to get to there. And so we just try to have an open line, transparent communication. And so we just ultimately call it a partnership. And that's how the relationship works best.
Thank you.
Excellent. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Hannah. Thank you for being on this Pen Talk, okay? Thank you.
Thanks so much.